What makes the web work?
Information and academics.
Passion.
I think it's information.
Electricity.
I think the web works on trust.
Developers.
Connected humans.
We do.
The people.
It's the people.
Totally people.
People make the web work.
Hello and welcome to WordCamp US 2025. I'm Steve Persh of Pantheon. This is Web Sessions. I'm here with Joeleen Kennedy of HumanMade. Joeleen, for those who haven't had a chance to meet you before, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Joeleen Kennedy. I am a senior web engineer at HumanMade. We're an enterprise WordPress agency.
So Joeleen, what makes the web work?
Oh gosh, I think there's a lot of answers to that question. I'm sure you've gotten a few already. But I think that's the most important thing about the web is that it's constantly changing. So it's all based around what your users' needs are, what your business needs are, and I think you just have to start somewhere. You create a website, web presence, and then your needs are going to change, and you're going to continue to build on that and iterate over time.
Yes, I think for so many teams that are thinking of launch day as the end of the project, and perhaps launch day should be the beginning.
Yeah, I definitely. Launch is a point in time.
Yes.
We create roadmaps, and it's like, how do we get to launch, and then what are we going to do after launch? Because there's always more that you want to do.
So how does HumanMade make that high-minded question very grounded? Like, how do you truly answer that question for any given client? What are we doing the day, the week, the month, the sprints after launch day?
Yeah, so we, at every stage of the project, we have a kind of an ongoing and flexible roadmap. And we talk about what are the priorities and how do we fit things in to make sure that we're meeting the biggest business needs, the biggest pain points. And, it's kind of that's agile, right? Like it's just a constant cycle of pulling things in, pushing things out, thinking about, well, suddenly this thing that we didn't think was going to be so important became really important, and we need to spend time on that instead of this other thing that we really wanted to do. And so sometimes those are the things that get pushed post-launch into phase 2, and we start thinking about, hey, this really fun interactive block that we want to build, that's going to be something that we roll out for, the next release for this event that's coming up or something.
All right, and it sounds like in HumanMade projects, phase 2 is a thing that actually happens. Because I have worked on some web teams, I have talked to other web teams where phase 2 is a myth. It never actually happens.
We always hope that it will. Sometimes they don't, sometimes phase 2 is a myth. But we always like to kind of go in with that plan of we're gonna keep selling. We want to do more in the future. We like you guys. We want to keep you around for a while. You know?
So what does it look like for HumanMade to keep delivering value? What does that look like on a month by month basis?
Yeah, so we have excellent account managers that meet regularly with our clients. And in addition to, obviously, we're having our regular sprint check-ins and things like that where the clients are talking one-on-one with the engineering team. But the account managers also regularly meet with the clients to talk about what does their own roadmap look like within their project, within their company. What kind of things do they have coming up, 3, 6, 12 months out? What goals do they have for their site? What events are they planning? What's going on with you all? How can we help with that? And so we're kind of constantly looking for ways that we can be helpful to them in the future.
And it sounds like the discovery phase just never stops. Like you're always discussing with the client what the next need is. You've used some agile terminology here. I'm curious, for HumanMade, how much of the jargon of scrums or the near religiosity of Scrum or agile methodologies are a part of your work, or is it just take what works?
It's a constant conversation. So I wouldn't say we're like strictly religious about being agile. We adopt agile because we think that it works.
Yeah.
But we use it in the way that works for us. So we're thinking about things in terms of we're doing sprint planning. We're doing sprint retros because it gives us a good opportunity to talk about what we want to do next week and how did things go last week? Not just because sprints are a thing, but because that gives us like a natural way to talk about the thing we want to do anyway.
Yeah. What does a good sprint planning meeting look like?
Yeah, so I think that the best sprint planning meetings that we've had, usually everyone coming into it has already taken a look at the high level goals. A lot of times the client has already identified a handful of things that are their priorities, and we start with that. So it gives us a place to start, and we talk about given a priority, how do we meet that, and what kind of tickets do we need for that? Sometimes the tickets have already been created, but sprint planning is all about figuring out, for any given goal, how are we going to break that down into work, and how are we going to prioritize things and figure out what's actually going to fit into a 2-week period. Because sometimes it's too much, and we say, well, is there anything that, maybe you don't need this week that we can do next sprint?
Yeah, 2 weeks is not very long. Especially if you're thinking, well, like the sprint begins on this day, and so there's only so much work that can happen that day, and then there's the last day, and we're demoing, and it gets tight very fast. How much do you bring your clients into that process? Like, are you asking the client to be a part of the daily activities, like play the role of the product owner?
We are, yes. We do expect our clients to be the product owners. We want them to be engaged. We want to get their feedback. We want them to help with QA. All of that makes sure that training is easier because we have WordPress advocates on the client side who understand how the system works. But then we also, it makes sure that we actually are building the right things, because it's easy for us to be like, oh, they're less engaged, we're going to help out, and then we build the wrong things. So we really do want them to be the product owners.
Yes, and I think that is an engineering skill as well. I have seen part of what separates a senior or an experienced engineering leader like yourself from someone who might be just brand new in their career. The experienced engineers have a sense of when to ask more. Like, is that what they really want? What else in you've been in WordPress for a long time. What separates the behaviors of a skilled, experienced engineer from someone who is just scratching the surface of getting into the coding side of WordPress?
Yeah, so I talk about this with my manager a lot, actually, because I think that no matter how senior you get, you're going to have moments where you kind of panic because you don't know how to do something. And so what we talk about is that seniority isn't knowing exactly how to do every single thing that's possible to be done. Seniority is about how do you figure out how to do something that you don't already know how to do, asking the right questions, knowing how to search for solutions, knowing who to reach out to, how to speak to other people and ask, hey, has anybody else encountered this problem before? But then also, like you say, raising your hand. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this. Can I get more context? Or like, this ticket doesn't make any sense. Could you please go over it with me again?
Absolutely. That was something I certainly noticed in my previous job when I was sometimes mentoring an intern or a new engineer. I would often tell them in advance, like, and if you spend more than 15 minutes in this area, you got to ask for help, because they might feel like, oh, they just need to power through it and keep digging. Like, no, there's some areas where you should know if you're stuck, you got to ask for help right away. You work for a company called Human Made, and we are in an era where AI is making some of it. So
AI is all the rage these days.
It is all the rage. I am curious, what is the human-made perspective?
Yeah, I think that, across the company, from individual to individual, there's different levels of adoption. So, some people are using AI on their day-to-day, with helping with coding, helping with searching for ideas, things like that. But then, of course, also there's the aspect of, at the agency level, what are we doing with AI? We have been experimenting with AI for quite a while, kind of trying to figure out solutions that are human-centered, though. being human made, as you point out.
Seems wise.
So, we're looking for things that's where AI can really help the users. So, a lot of times maybe our clients are looking for automated excerpt creation or like automated tagging, things like that. AI assisted search, stuff like that, where you have a user need that where you want to be able to type in, for the search as an example, you want to type in a human phrase like, how do I do such and such, instead of like figuring out what the exact words should be to get the search that you're looking for.
Sure. We're nearly running out of time here, but you gave a presentation here at WordCamp about the usage of the Gutenberg block editor, I think in the context of Wikimedia. For anyone who wasn't in the room and may want to watch it on YouTube, could you give us a tease of what that presentation was about?
Sure. Yeah. So my talk was at the showcase day yesterday, and it was all about how we're using the block editor and full site editing for Wikimedia's UX refresh. And so we actually weren't able to go 100% to full site editing. And so, kind of some ideas for how you can pull in bits of it as you're working with a hybrid theme.
Mm-hmm. So in addition to watching that video, if anyone wants to follow you on the internet, find you, where should they look?
Well, I guess it depends.
Or perhaps you do not want to be found.
I'm not big on socials, so that's not going to do much good. But I am on LinkedIn, and I'm in the Making WordPress Slack, so feel free to find me there.
All right, sounds good. Can I get one more high five, Joey?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, and have a great WordCamp, everybody.
Thank you.